for you first of all, but if you guys have signed up for this webinar, then you're probably already familiar with the background, the outline here. So we won't go into too much detail on that. But like every webinar, we're going to have a Q&A at the end of the webinar today. I'm pretty sure we're going to get some interesting questions. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please put them in the Zoom panel, the Q&A section there, and we'll answer those at the end of today's webinar. We're also live streaming this on YouTube as well, but if you're watching on YouTube, we're not going to be answering questions from YouTube, so just be aware of that. You'll have to sign in with the Zoom link there to get your questions answered. And as always, we send a survey out at the end of the day, at the end of the webinar, for you guys to, if you have any questions, any feedback, anything you want to learn about in the future, put that in the survey, and we get you a 10% discount for the content store code, which is stackable on top of everything else. I think that about covers all the precursors here to the webinar. So we got a few promotional things to go through. I know a lot of you are probably attending this webinar. You're probably excited about Character Creator 5 coming out later this summer. We've kind of pushed it back a little bit because we're working on some final tweaks and touches to it. So let's talk about that first. CC5. So you can check out the pre-launch page right here. I'll throw this link in the chat window for you. Where's my chat? There it is. Hello from Toronto. Hello from, oh, two people from Toronto. Yeah, there's so many Accu things to keep track of, Leo. Thanks. I completely agree. It gets all mixed up in the old noggin there. But here's the CC5 pre-launch page. You get a really good deal here. You buy some content, basically you get a free upgrade to CC5. There's some really awesome deals going on here for the pre-launch. So make sure you explore that page. There's a number of different features. This video here, you can check out the feature preview. This guy looks really shocked at all the cool things that are coming out. And there's also a couple of other things coming out as well. Actor Mixer. If we have more time with that, if we have more time at the end of the webinar, I can explain more about that. It's very similar to the way that MetaHuman operates in terms of character creation, but a lot of detail there. So yeah, you can kind of explore this on your own time. For this webinar, I don't want to go into too much detail. I mean, we can always talk about CC5 later. There's a lot of really cool features. I can't demo any of them aside from the page, unfortunately, because we have to keep a few things hush-hush. But yeah, that's the CC5 pre-launch page. So if you click on it, you can see what deal they have going on right now. I think it's pre-launch giveaway. You spend like $3.99 or something, and you get all kinds of, you get free stuff here. So yeah, so any CC4 bundle purchase, it's a free upgrade now. So don't worry about that. You can explore those anyways on your own time. We have some live demo stuff to get into here. This is the same page here. You can check out the pre-launch offer here. I wanted to mention as well to everyone, if you are an educator or you're a student, we'd like to encourage you to apply for our student or teacher discount here. This is on our Global Training Center page. I'll throw this in a link for you guys as well. Make sure it's being sent to everyone. This is the highest discount we offer for anyone, really. So make sure you check this out. You get a 60% discount off the list price. And as well, if you're an educator, you can apply for a free semester license that gives you a full functionality for a complete full semester. So you can test it out with your students. Make sure you check out if it works with your pipeline, whatever production pipeline you have. And yeah. A little bit later, we're going to talk about Actor Core. Not too much. I don't want to focus too much on, the commercialization aspect, to be honest, unless you guys want to learn more about it. But Actor Core is basically our motion library. Everything's compatible with Unreal Engine is the thing we focus on here on this page. But you can see that a number of different software. We can go easily back and forth between all of these programs. We have auto setup plugins that are free for every single one of them. So no cost to you for all these other programs, which is excellent. Actor Core also contains a number of these Actor Core characters. They're mainly used for sort of background type characters. They're very low poly, and we can talk more about that later as well. And onto the AccuPose website. Okay, so AccuPose, we have Actor Core, AccuPose, AccuFace, and AccuRIG. So there's 4 of them, which we're going to talk about AccuRIG mainly in today's webinar. You can just search for it actually if you want, but it actually comes included. An advanced version of it comes included with Character Creator 4 and of course Character Creator 5. So all these accus, we should just call it accu cubed or accu quads, whatever, to the power of 5 is. um, yeah, AccuPose, we can explore this later if I get to it. Just kind of showing you briefly how to use AI assisted posing and animation. There's a number of different tutorials on this, but I can always provide you with the links for those tutorials and you'll get more in-depth uh, information on those. Okay, cool. All right, so we are going to get started. I believe I just have Character Creator open. I do, right here. Okay, couple comments here. Windy Vegas, hey Ferris. Auto setup, not quite yet for Maya. Wait, let me just double check here. Not quite auto setup, but that's coming for sure. I know that's been talked about quite frequently, and I think it'll be coming with CC5. Don't quote me on that, but it is in the works. So basically everything else. I haven't worked with Maya in a long time, so I'm not sure if the auto setup has come out yet, but just Google it and you can probably find out. Okay, right on. Let's get started here. So we're going to basically be showing you how to import a number of different characters. These characters are various different rig types, ranging from Blender to 3ds Max to UE4. Again, UE5, Character Creator 5 is going to be fully compatible with all the UEFN, UE5 rigs. So that's a huge bonus for a lot of people. You're just going to be able to take it in no problem. Auto setup, all that good stuff. All right, so let's look at our first character. This is going to be a quick one. We're going to bring in a 3ds Max character. Now, the way you can do this is basically, there's a couple of ways you can create a character. You can create a character up here from the top left, and you can find your FBX iProp file here. Generally, FBX is what you're going to be using for creating your character from here. Transformer, we'll talk about that a little bit. That's a DAZ plugin. Okay, and it's free. So if you're a DAZ user, then it's great for you. You can also, go create character up here and character load neutral base. This is what I recommend doing if you're going to create your own character that you want to be fully compatible with our software. Start here with a neutral base, and I can talk more about that later. But let's just bring in a couple quick characters before I talk too much. Let's go ahead and bring in this Max character. Okay, so we're just going to bring this in as a character. Okay, and now when you're bringing in, I know people are going to be asking questions about, oh, where's the automatic facial rigging and all that stuff. It's coming, all right? It's going to be fully compatible with MetaHuman characters, character facial rigs, and I'll talk more about that later. But this is just the Max character, 3ds Max biped character. You can see when you import in the FBX, it automatically detects it as a 3ds Max biped. These are all the other templates here that are fully functional, fully compatible with our automatic rigging system. So the retargeting will anything from Xsense to Vicon to OptiTrack, MetaTailor's in there as well, DAZ Victoria, DAZ Genesis. These are all kind of, you've probably run around these before if you're in the 3D realm for any amount of time. This is our first character. He's a big, huge, massive ogre dude. You can see very low try count. I Control G, turn off my grid there. That white grid can sometimes be a little bit jarring. You can see he's a very low character here. And this is Character Creator, by the way, in case I didn't mention that before. Just bring him in, and he's fully rigged. So it automatically detects it's a 3ds Max rig biped. But this character is going to have a little bit of a problem. The first thing you want to do if you do auto detect for the rig, so if you're using a 3ds Max standard biped rig, you're using my HumanIK rig, you're using UE4 rig, you're using Blender MetaRig, it's going to automatically detect and automatically retarget. So you don't have to do anything if you're using those standard rigs. But if you have some extra bones here and there and you've decided to modify it in certain ways, then you're going to have to use AccuRIG, which we'll talk about momentarily. So that's just a little precursor there, so you know the difference. So the first thing you want to do is you want to test out your motions when you bring him in. So now this guy, you can see he's actually walking on air right now. If I turn the grid back on with Control G there, you'll see he's actually walking on air, which is not ideal. And sometimes sometimes this may occur depending on your character's proportions, bone length, and all kinds of stuff. So he looks like he's kind of doing like a moonwalk. You could actually turn this quite easily into a moonwalk, to be honest. But anyways, that's not what we want. And the way to fix that up is we want to go over to our animation tab here, and I'm going to get my face out of the way. And we want to set a HumanIK T-pose here. Okay, it's a simple fix. You just basically click on set HumanIK T-pose, and it's going to basically take your character back into a T-pose. And this character, you'll see it'll take him flat on the ground, and the blue hip bone there is selected. Just auto adjust hip height. This will basically fix everything, and then you're done. All right. Pretty simple stuff. Now, that's the fix for this. And obviously, since his feet are so massive, they're kind of dragging through the floor there. So you'd want to fix that manually, doing your animation in iClone. If we have time to do that later, I think I will. But yeah, for now, that's basically just showing you how you import in a character. You can check all these other things as well here. Now, for this character, the hands, for example, we'll talk about the hands a little bit later. You can see here, if I scroll through the hands, the fingers aren't properly rigged because he has like only 3 fingers. So it didn't really detect that it automatically has 5 fingers. And I can show you how to fix that later in AccuRIG. Okay, so AccuRIG doesn't matter how many fingers you have. You can actually customize the number of fingers for your character, and it'll be compatible with all the Reallusion hand motions. So again, those test motions are all down there, and that's fine. Okay, cool stuff. Let's move on to the next one, which is a Blender MetaRig. I'm just going to go over and bring a Blender character in now. And again, you can just click and drag them in. Bring it as a character and humanoid. Again, the standard characters will have facial animation setups, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later on. You can just go ahead and apply. And you can see here it detects it as a Blender MetaRig automatically. All right, there we go. This guy is an ugly looking fellow. Sorry to start off with 2 super ugly looking creatures, but we'll get prettier as we go along. So you can see here now, if I apply a motion to this character, let's go to acting male. I always just do the walking motion because I'm boring. And you'll see this guy has the same issue. Okay, so this is a bit more extreme there, okay? Because his leg proportions are really long compared to the rest of his body. Like his torso's so narrow or so tiny compared to his legs. So you'll often get an issue like that. And of course, the same thing, just set HumanIK T-pose. Make sure you fix it with the auto adjust the hip height. And you'll be good to go. Okay, and then boom. So again, now this guy's going to be, his hips are going to be super low. So he's going to look like he's stepping really strangely with every step. So again, you're not going to get perfect results with characters that have extreme proportions like this one. But if you encounter something like that, generally you want to go ahead and set the HumanIK T-pose. Now, if you do this, you sometimes may need to do it manually, adjust it manually. You may encounter certain models or certain just gremlins in the system that require you to fix things manually. If that's the case, you can just go ahead and like manually adjust it. You can adjust the rotation, Y and Z values here. You can load a T-pose in. There's various T-poses for different types of DAZ characters for sure. But yeah, you just want to kind of get your character in the T-pose. In terms of your settings here, you can just see the bone settings, and yeah, that's about it for that one. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but that's the second character. And again, these guys don't have facial animation. That takes a lot more fandangling, I guess you can say, in the software of your choice. I often use Blender, and I'll talk more about Blender in a little bit. But yeah, I just want to show you can just quickly bring those 2 characters in. The rigs are automatic. You can create copies of these. You can you can put like probably this character only has 25,000 tries in its poly count there. You can probably make, I don't know, 20 or 30 of these guys and give them runs and have them chasing after a character. You can probably do that in less than 10 minutes. So it's kind of fun to bring your Blender MetaRig characters in if they're already set up with the default Blender MetaRig. Okay, so next up, we're going to have a Daz character. And I'll show you the transformer tool now. The first two we just brought in automatically, and they automatically detected the rig because they were standard rigs. But with Daz, we have a kind of a special workflow that I recommend you use, and that's the transformer plugin right here. You can all click on transformer here and go to CC3 Plus or CC3. Now CC3 Plus is going to be the more recent rig that's slightly more optimized, so I'd recommend using this. And what you want to do is you want to bring in your Daz character. Now, the transformer tool is compatible with the G3 and the G8 and the Victorias and the Michaels, those rigs, and it'll automatically allow you to customize your character completely. And that's including skin. That's including the hair and the eyes and everything like that. So, previously in previous years, we had a really strong pipeline with Daz, and it's still strong. But it's going to allow you to do a lot of cool things. You'll see it pop up here, load FBX embedded texture files. Okay, so those are the texture files I have with the FBX. It's going to automatically detect and load them all in. And so you can choose advanced. You can choose to do the basic version. I'll just do advanced because what advanced does, it kind of does a little bit of a better job at kind of parsing everything here. And you'll see it automatically detects some clothing she's wearing as shoes or clothing. Okay, so there's pants, sweater, and the hair it's going to import as a cloth. That doesn't matter. We can import it as a hair, brows, and beard. Sometimes it may detect this way. You don't need to bake the body texture unless you want to. I'm not going to bake it in this case. And your skin template, you can just choose a default skin template. And if you need a T-pose for your character, you can click on get an A pose for a CC3 or a T pose for CC. Again, this character is automatically in an A pose. I believe it is. And so we won't need to worry too much about that. But those are the files where you can just load the the specific T pose file or the A pose file for your character if you need to. Okay, and this will just take a sec to bake the textures. And we'll have our funky new little Daz character in here. And this is a G8 character from a few years, I think a few years ago, 2 years ago now, that I got from the Daz Marketplace. Okay, so the character pops in, no problem. You can see that, there's the texture on the sweater is, there's some breakage there. And what you're going to have to do for this one is do some manual editing, just because she's not really meant to have this sort of pose with this sweater. But if you just go ahead and test the motion on it, like a female walk, for example, she'll walk perfectly fine. Okay, and generally what you'd probably want to do here is you'd want to edit that mesh that is popping out there. There's various different ways you can do it, but the point here is that your character can pop in like this and has complete facial animation as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the various things we can do with this character now. And this is the Daz workflow. Now her clothing is all basically assigned as clothing. We assign that automatically with the transformer plugin. So what you can do is you can just go ahead and save any of her clothing items, like her pants, for example. Just click on those, go to custom, and you can click on save. And you can save this as clothing and pants. Okay, we'll call it Minto pants. Okay, and go ahead and save that. Now these are going to be fully compatible with any, you can see it's saved as CC cloth. They're now fully compatible with any CC3 Plus character. We can do the same thing for the shoes. We can save those as into shoes and make sure we assign them as shoes. Okay, and go okay. And you can even save your character as well. Now, even cooler, what we can do here is the character has been mapped, like all the materials and the textures have been mapped properly. It automatically assigned us this CC3 Plus texture map or material, I guess you can say. We can change that with any of the compatible tools. So if we go to like our templates here, we go to skin, we can give her an orc skin if we want it to be really weird about it, but I'll probably, there's the scanned reality pack here. I'll just throw this one on her. This is basically a 4K texture that you can assign, or a 2K texture, depending on your requirements. And just go ahead and apply the default options there. And this is converting. Let's see here. Cool. Yeah. So Blender MetaRig Rigify. Just looking quickly at Andrew mentioned. Yeah, you could. There's a one-click option in Blender to do Rigify, to send it to Rigify. It'll be really cool. Now Josh mentions here, do we still need FBX keys to use DAZ assets? No, with the transformer mode, I don't believe so. You can just bring it in. It doesn't prompt you for an FBX key file. The only time it prompts you for FBX key files is when you like create a character this way and use an FBX file. And I can show that later if you want, but I don't often use that functionality. So anyways, you can see we applied the 4K standard texture. Looks really nice on our character. We zoom in, we get some nice skin texture on her. That's the 3D scan technology there. If I want, I can also throw on some different clothes on her. So any DAZ characters will be compatible with this, just so you're aware, this whole functionality. Let's try maybe this pack from Angel Alonso. Give her some kind of hip hop pants here. There you go. How about a top? Maybe shirts. Okay, there'll be shirts in the same pack. There we go. All right, so thankfully it applies over her stuff there, and then we can get rid of that other shirt. So now we kind of like, just in like 30 seconds, we fully customized her. We can throw some gloves on as well. These accessories are all saved. So, and I think the boots, let's try some custom boots as well. I'm not sure. Shoes here. Oh, there is a custom. Let's try from a different character. Just to mix it up a little bit. So again, you can throw all those shoes in there, and cool. So now you got a totally completely different character. The hair can be replaced as well. Now this hair looks really good, and the one reason for that is because if we go to the character's hair, you can see that all the hair, there's various different hair materials, and they're all PBR. They're fairly good looking. I mean, there's a little bit of mesh breakage there, and what you can do is, if you find the positioning is a little bit incorrect, you can just push it forward. Just select that hair piece and push it forward there. Okay, or you can go into the scene manager and you can get rid of the hair altogether, and you can replace it with your own hair, which we have plenty of in Character Creator. Lots of different hair types. So where are we? Here. Let's try and give her a more realistic hairstyle here. Hair group. Let's try the e-girl hair. No, this one looks kind of okay, I guess. Okay, don't worry about that. Oh, it's giving me a sweet, just what I wanted, a watermark. So let's try a pack that maybe I haven't, is not going to be a mess up with. Maybe we can give her this male hair. Middle wavy. There you go. That's better. Actually looks kind of cute. Okay, so anyways, we just fully customized our character. Another thing you can do is, once you have that character, you can select the skin on the body, and you can fully customize it using the appearance editor here. So if we activate the editor, just keep the modified results. Yeah, and it has all the functionality that the appearance editor has in Character Creator 3 for your CC3 Plus characters. So you bring a DAZ character and you can fully customize it. I can actually replace the eyes as well, and I'll show you that too. The pipeline is with DAZ is awesome. Okay, she went naked there, but whatever. We'll just kind of focus on this. I know there's some people that are kind of sensitive to these things, but skin base, you can see here. We can customize all sorts of different things here. There's the color balance of the skin base. You can change the hue. Oh, that's the lips we're looking at there. Make sure you have the right material selected. Body, skin base. And let's try. Oh, here we go. Body. We can make her pink and change the brightness. It's not a good demo there, but you can also change other things. And then once you change it, if you want to change it for the rest of the items on your character, for example, I choose the head. Let's just focus on that. Once you complete the head, since they're all connected, if you change any of these options here for the head, like the I'll make sure we're in the right section. Lips, head, okay. Maybe you want her to be slightly alien. You can give her a bit more of a yellow hue, cyan hue. And then we can just go ahead and update. And that'll kind of update all the other textures as well to share the same modifications we made. Now she's like a naked green Star Trek type alien. We can Control Z to undo that if we want. Because it looks weird. And then I'll just replace the eyes. And then we'll move on to a kind of a more, I'll show you how to extract an accessory easily from a character. See how many times I have to press Control Z here. Oh, there we go. Anyways, and then there's makeup as well. You can also apply like makeup templates. The purpose of this webinar here isn't really just to do all these skin modifications. It's more to kind of show the compatibility of various different rigs using AccuRIG and stuff. But you can also you can always give me questions as well later if you want. Hair can be modified the same as everything. And then this character can be we can give her any sort of animation as well. All right, but I have to throw her into iClone for all that stuff. Cool, unless we have it right here, which I don't. But okay, so that's next. Let's see what animation we have actually. Sinister moves. Let's try something a bit more energetic. Riot sounds pretty energetic. Altercations. This one I like. Cool. All right, so let's see her socking someone. And you'll see, so again, Dad's fully compatible. And this is popping up as punk. Yeah. Those are kind of group motions. They're meant to be used when two kind of characters are interacting. It's kind of funny anyways, though. Okay, cool. That's basically bringing in your Dad's characters. Let's try another one here. I'm just going to bring in a Maya character. We're going to easily extract a mask off this character. Kooks. Where's Maya? There we go. So let's bring in a Maya character. And bring it in as a character. Humanoid again. This one's not going to have a face. But, well, it's going to have a face technically. But, okay. So now this is a Maya character. And it didn't automatically detect as my HumanIK because it's slightly customized. It's slightly different. So now if I have a custom character, unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult. It's one of the most difficult. It's the most difficult way to bring your characters into Character Creator for if you have a fully customized rig. So what I recommend doing is, taking our rig, exporting it, using that rig, and modifying the mesh as much as you want, and just maintaining our rig. So, unless you want to have to do this for all the bones, it only takes about 10 minutes. But you select the hip bone, for example, you need to define it. So you can just go ahead and click here. Let's go into our bone manager and just see which bone we want. Hips right here. So character 1 hips. We want to define this as character 1 hips. So go into here, character 1 hips. And we have to do it one by one. You kind of go up the bone hierarchy here. And this one here is going to be spine 1 probably, or spine 2. Anyways, you can see how it gets annoying. Just click on it. Oh, there it is, character 1 spine. Okay, so you click on this, and then you have to define it as character 1 spine. I think you get the point. I don't really want to do this anymore. See, I get tired of it after, or maybe it was character 1 spine. Oh, I think I put spine 1. Anyways, you get the point. You have to basically define all those bones. So in a situation like this, to be honest, just because AccuRIG works really well, and I'll show you that right now. Just the easiest way to do it is just select your character and just go over to AccuRIG. It's just going to replace your character's entire bone structure. So let's go ahead and do that. Click on create target mesh is all, or target mesh is all meshes. This character only has a single mesh, so just go ahead and click all meshes, or you can just click this one and choose selected meshes if you want. It doesn't matter either way. Create guides. Oh, all meshes. Okay, there you go. So it'll automatically detect the mesh. This operation will remove the existing skeleton. So, okay, it's going to basically remove all the rigging, and it's going to completely re-rig your character in a couple minutes. So we got 20-ish more minutes left. We got enough time to do a few things. Okay, so here's our character guides, and this is your standard AccuPose workflow, AccuRIG workflow rather. Okay, and basically you click on all these guides, and it'll kind of tell you where you should put the guides on the character's body. In general, it works out really well. You know, at the beginning, this character, you want to have mirror symmetry selection enabled, and you know, the hands could be better positioned. You probably want to take these, and you can see they're supposed to be at the wrist. So maybe use the G hotkey for an overhead view. And you can see here that if we move this to this inside, it's going to move the other side as well. So boom. And I just recommend keeping all these options here: midpoint placement, symmetry selection, all enabled, selected in front part. These are normally the ones I have enabled. Um, I normally don't change these because it can just make things unnecessarily difficult and annoying sometimes. Anyways, the point is not to have this character rigged, although it's going to be super easy. We have to define the number of fingers. So remember I told you we could define the number of fingers. So there's 4 fingers. That's going to be important. And then generate skeleton. That'll give us our bone markers for our hands. And that normally is fairly accurate as well. And then you just kind of slightly reposition those. But again, the purpose of this character is to show you how to save out an accessory. As I mentioned, I would do that. So you can see, you can use the hand zoom camera templates or presets here. And if you click on one of them, it'll tell you, you know, is it pretty accurate? Yeah, that's good enough for us. Again, I'm not worried too much about accuracy in this scenario. There's this one here that points outwards. This rotation gizmo thingy. And you have to make sure that you click on that and then you rotate it so that the arrow is facing the out, or the nail is facing outwards. So they are facing the same direction. And yeah, we're good. Not like I'm going to be worrying too much about this, to be honest. But once you're done that, the hand stuff, then you can go ahead and click on bind skin. And that'll take you into your next step. And then we'll save out the mask by extracting a certain part of the mesh. People always ask me, how do I, you know, take this mesh off my character and apply it to another character? Well, we're going to learn how to do that. Okay, so here's our dude, all set up, good to go. And you can just click on check animation. You know, male walk again. He looks like he should be doing something a little bit crazier than a regular walk, but you know, looks good, right? You could possibly adjust his T-pose to make his hips rotated slightly back. But again, we're not going to worry too much about that. Let's check his hands. Just want to show the result of the 4 fingers. So I just normally scrub through the timeline for the hand stuff. It's like, hands up, no weapons, they're clenching. Okay, so you can see the fingers go in. Zoom in a little closer. Hands are perfect. Okay, clenching, that's good. To the side, and yeah, pretty much good to go, right? Just because I have this mask doesn't mean I'm robbing the bank. Anyways, okay, so then we can go out of AccuRIG. And what we're going to do is we're going to extract that mask from his mesh and we're going to apply it to a different character. Now we can extract all these different meshes. We can extract his like thong there. We can extract these, whatever these are, these wrappings around his arms. We can even extract his hair if we want, this funky looking hair. But for simplicity's sake and speed, I'm going to just extract the mask here. So to do that, just make sure your character is selected and go over here to Edit Mesh. It'll be under your Modify panel in the Attributes tab and click on Edit Mesh and click on Element. Okay. And we're going to click on the mask. Okay. You can see it clicks nicely, selects nicely. You can also select, individual hair elements as well. Like for example, the arm wrap, like I showed you, the thong thing, and you can extract all these elements individually. But let's go ahead and just do this mask. And you can see there's an extract mesh down here on the bottom. So just click on that and it says it'll be triangulated, yada, yada. That's cool. And then it'll pop up under your scene manager under extract. And you can generally want to rename it mask, crazy mask. It's more than a mask. It's a crazy mask. Okay. And then you can select it right here and you want to convert to accessory. And that'll be in your modified tab there as well. Okay, and just bake current shape. It's fine. Okay, so now we have this crazy mask as its own accessory, right? Now, one thing you want to do is if you move this around, press the W hotkey, you can move it around separately. You can see, whoa, now he has no face. But one thing you generally want to do before you save it out is you want to reset the pivot point to the middle of the mask because it's weird if it's way down here, right? So you want to go to down here to your pivot and you want to just set it somewhere in the middle. Again, this can be generally wherever you want it. You can have it at the base of the mask and stuff. But then once you have that, just go to your content manager and save it. And now I'm going to show you how to save it to the proper place in just a moment here. We can save it as an accessory / others. Okay. You can save it to the head. It doesn't matter at this point. Let's save it just as a others accessory. I'll call it crazy mask. I believe I just did this to test things out a second ago. So it should save in our custom others tab. Okay. Custom accessories and others. Let's twirl up the animation there. See others. Okay, you can see crazy mask, and it just copies whatever view we have in our viewport there. So it was a little bit to the side. But now if I wanted to bring in like I don't know, let's bring in one of those stylized characters we had earlier. Templates. Maybe let's bring in the city worker here. Let's replace all. And again, we can save that character as well, no problem. Once it's rigged, we can save it as a fully functional character. Just make sure this character's in. Oh, she has just ignore the watermark for now. And then we can go to our custom tab and under the accessories, other. There we go. Yeah, crazy mask. Okay, now it'll apply to her chest, which is, it's just based on the previous character's height. So we can resave this and we can rescale it, if we want to whatever scale or size we want. Something like this. We can press the R hotkey and scale it up. And again, it's going to, because it's an accessory, it's not going to conform to the character's facial shape. So generally, you're going to have to resize it anyways. I don't know why I chose this character for the demo, but maybe it's Halloween over at Jack in the Box or wherever she's working. Anyways, okay. So now that you have it right here, what you want to do is go down to where it says attach. And you can see by default, it just attaches to the base of the hip, which is not really generally where you want a mask to attach to. So you want to go ahead and attach to the head. Search for the head bone. base head. There you go. Press OK. And now you can save it as a head mesh or whatever, and we can apply motions like a tune. Let's have a tune female walk. Okay. Bang. All right. It's a weird demo, but you get the point. That's how you see extract meshes, and you can do that for shoes. You can do that for any sort of item as well. So just wanted to show you that. Okay, we got time for a couple more demos. Okay, let's do this other character that I wanted to show you using AccuPose because this is talking about using the Blender link, data link to Blender, and I like that. It's a really cool tool. So, okay, where is our character? He's over here somewhere. Legacy. Oh no, Toyman. There we go. So this is just a very simple character. And you can see a good thing to notice when you bring him in, he enters in way over there. Okay, that's not the scene root. The scene root is where the character is, and you want to zero out your character. So let's just delete our character right now. This guy will come in. So he's just an object right now. He has no rigs. So I wanted to show you if you have like absolutely no rig on your character, it's not a problem. Like you can probably model a guy like this in a couple hours. To be honest, he's fairly simple topology wise. Um, but what you want to do before you save him or send him to Blender or anything like that is you want to make sure, whoops, you go down here and you want to make sure you reset, zero out your position here. So just like that, and then he'll be at the center of your root. Otherwise, whenever you bring him into Blender and stuff, he'll be like way off in the distance. So it's always good practice to make sure your character is zeroed out at the beginning. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly auto rig this guy, or AccuRIG, I should say. AccuRIG. Okay, so we do the same thing. Create guide. You can see he's very simple as well, just a single mesh. So if we can also do this. Selected meshes and select that one as well. Create guides. And I'm going to show you basically if you have certain issues like we're going to have here. I'm going to purposefully show you an issue. We'll just adjust his positioning slightly before we move on. He's very broad-chested. And we can bring his wrists up as well. And leg items. Again, this is all fairly arbitrary, depending on the type of results you want for your character. You can also move the wrists down slightly, I think. Whatever. Okay, let's go ahead. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands or 5 fingers. So we'll generate the skeleton. I hope he doesn't have 5 hands. That'd be really weird. And then I'll show you guys because sometimes AccuRIG with certain characters of certain proportions, like this guy, because Reallusion body rigs contain what are called twist bones, occasionally you may get some interesting weighting results, which I'll show you in just a moment here. Let's get his fingers smack in the middle. Looks like I need to update my video card. Okay, because we're going to focus a little bit more on his hands here, so I want to make sure I get these fairly decent. Again, I'm doing a really quick job of this, but that's generally what you're going to want to go for. Wrists can be out here. It's fine. Thumbs. He's got very pudgy thumbs. No offense, Mr. Lego man dude, whatever. Okay, you want to check them you want to check them from all angles too as well, just to make sure his thumbnail is not super important. Oops, we need to make sure we select that. There you go. I'm not even exactly sure which direction his thumbnails are supposed to be pointing, but he doesn't have any thumbnails to speak of, so you want to fix those anyways. And then we'll go ahead and bind skin. Now for this one, I'm going to show you some hand issues. If we have time, the next thing I want to take a look at quickly is just the facial, because some people always ask me about, facial. How do you get my facial rig? How do I rig my character's face? Now, a little kind of teaser, I guess you can say, is for those of you who use MetaHuman characters, we're going to be fully compatible with them in CC5. So you're going to be able to take your character into MetaHuman back and forth and use either animation tool you want, which is going to be really cool. You can check out the video for more on that. But here we go. Okay, so we had our character. Let's check the animation, and let's specifically check the body rig and hands. Okay, now with this character, his hands are pretty chunky, and we could probably have done a better job on the hands, but you can see when he brings his hands up like this, one thing to notice specifically is that there's a really kind of weird twist, especially on the lower arms here where the wrists are. So, that looks weird. And a lot of this is due to AccuRIG's automatic skin weighting. I mean, skin weighting generally takes quite a while to do, and this is just automatic. So I found, Blender does it fairly well. And speaking of Blender, we have an amazing tool for Blender called DataLink. So to load up DataLink, first we need to go to AccuRIG. So our character's rigged up. And, you can do simple like walks and everything. He's perfectly rigged otherwise, other than the fact his arms are a little bit twisty. But just go ahead and it doesn't really matter what pose he's in, actually. Plugins and Blender Pipeline and DataLink, okay, or DataLink, whatever you want to call it. Oh, it's already loaded up. Okay, there we go. So you can stop it, you can start it like this. Now, very important, people always come to me like, oh, the data link's not working, yada, yada. Well, 99% of the time, if your data link isn't working, you want to make sure it's you're updated to the latest versions of both. So you have to get the plugin or the add-on rather for Blender. And you also have to do the one for iClone as well, or Character Creator. Now, they're both free. So I can show you the page later. You can actually just go to, is there a help page? Yeah, or settings. Oh, the page isn't here, but you can just Google like Blender data link for iClone or something. Anyways, start the server and you can just click on Go Be Avatar. And what it's going to do is it automatically loads up Blender for you, and it's going to load your character in. Now it loads in with the default cube and camera and all that stuff, but that's cool because you can actually just delete that stuff. Yeah, there we go. Let's just select it all and delete it. Oh, some more lights there. Okay, cool. Now, here's the character in Blender. Oh, we could probably have saved some of those lights. There we go. Okay, so we can actually see him. All right, so again, he imported in with an animation. If you use that Go B, he'll automatically import in with an animation. Now, this doesn't matter. We're not going to do motion editing in Blender. You can always rigify this character as well. So again, if you go up to Edit and Preferences, make sure that under CCIC, you have the latest version. And the way you can do that is just click on the option, literally says, check now for the latest update. Okay. And you have to go, you should probably auto check, but whatever. And then you have to make sure you have it updated to the latest version in your Reallusion hub as well. So this Blender pipeline, again, it's free. You can install it right here. I've already installed version 2.3, the latest version. Okay. So 99% of the time, that's going to be the issue you're facing there. Okay. Now let's open up the Blender tool here. We can go to CC link. You can see it's linked already. Automatically does it when you send it over. And in CC create, we can go to weight painting. Okay. Now let's select our character. Let's make sure that we can see our bones and everything. Go down to visibility in front. There we go. Okay, so that's our armature for our character right there. That's basically his bones. So what you can do here is you can just go over to object mode or select the mesh first and go into object mode and weight paint. Okay, now you can see here that the weight painting, it's very extreme. It's very kind of around the arm right there. It's very extreme. And there's a couple of things we can do. I'm going to show you just a couple of quick functionality. Like I don't want to paint the weights myself manually. You can change your weight to something lower and you can smooth it out yourself manually if you want, like that. But one thing you can also do is you can also choose like light smooth, for example, and that'll smooth it out like that. You can also choose heavy smooth. So these are just presets you can use, so you don't have to manually paint it. Okay, so it's really cool. And you can find your armature right here under data, with the armature selected. You can see there's upper arm twist. That one's okay. This one can probably smooth out a little bit more. You can also try heavy smooth if you want. That didn't work too well. And again, you can just do it manually, but generally these smoothing ones work out fairly well. So that's for the right upper arm and left upper arm. Now it's not too extreme. And there's forearm twist as well. So what you can do here is you can, manually adjust these as well, like light, smooth. Okay, that one wasn't probably the best idea, but these are just easy ways you can do it. And again, manually if I want. I think there's kind of a conflict between the upper arm twist and the lower arm twist that sometimes occurs, especially for characters that are very, shall we say, chunky in the arms. There's the forearm twist. But another thing you can also do here as well is you can actually just go ahead and put your character in the rest position and transfer weights, and that kind of does a kind of a smooth out for you. And then you can also click on normalize weights. So you can see that the definition for this, or the little note, says it recalculates the weights in the vertex groups, so they add up to 1 for each vertex. So each vertex is fully weighed across all bones influencing it. And I find this works excellent. So I just normally click normalize weights. And then you can just go ahead and once that's done, send your character back to CC. So you can just go ahead and click go CC. Okay. And that's going to send the dude back to character creator. It doesn't really matter what you choose here. You can choose G3 character. It doesn't matter because he doesn't have face anyways. But when we do this and then we test the hand twist, the arm twist I showed you earlier, it's basically going to resolve that. So if you encounter something like this where, your character's twisting is a little bit strange. Okay, so now you can see right here that arm twisting is completely gone. So again, the first thing I do for troubleshooting when you AccuRIG your character, you want to go and check your skin weights. You can check them you can actually do this manually in Character Creator as well, but I just like to do that because I found this amazing tool in Blender Data Link that just does it for you pretty much, I wouldn't say flawlessly each time, but it does it a lot smoother than AccuRIG does it. So if you want, you can also go over to modify and you can adjust skin weights manually here. Let's get rid of those bones. They're kind of bothering me. Oops. Whatever. At least have less opacity anyways. Okay, there we go. So you can see now it's smooth. So you can go to skin weights here. This is another way to do it. And it'll take a second to load up. And you can see here, you can select all the different bones. So there's, whoops. We want the upper arm, so the forearm twist. So you can see the forearm twists are now a lot better than they were before. So I find that this sometimes occurs. And again, that's a really quick and easy fix that for something that normally before would take you, I don't know, hours possibly to do. So I think it's a really useful tool. And of course, you can manually do it in Character Creator as well. But I just found that little tip to be quite useful. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left. I don't really have time to go into, I was going to show you clothing. If you want to import, clothing to your character and save it as custom clothing in Character Creator. It's very similar to the way that we did the mesh, or did the mask rather. It's very similar to that. So you just import in your entire FBX character as an accessory. I'm going to throw a link in the chat because I don't have time to do it right now. But let's see here. What would it be called? Clothing mapping in CC4. Oh, here we go. Found it. Oh. It's not the one, but it'll be somewhere. Let me just check here so I can give you the right link. Oh, yeah, separating external content. Okay, I found it. All right, I'm just going to share this YouTube link for you guys so you have it. So I didn't have time to get to that. Too many windows over here. Okay, I'm going to throw this in the chat. Okay, so this one will kind of show you the process of, bringing in custom clothing. Again, you have to separate the mesh, or rather extract the mesh, and then you have to save it. As first with clothing, you have to skin it to the character, so it kind of conforms to the character's body mesh. But that's really the only extra step to, as opposed to accessories. Um, yeah, in terms of facial animation, I'll show you one quick option example here, and let me just find it really quick here. You can see umpire. Is it this one? Yeah, let's use this one. Okay, so I'm gonna bring in this vampire file. This is basically just a. Is this the one? Oh, we have to bring in the raw one first. So I had a couple of folders here mixed up. Okay, so if I bring in this vampire file, now full disclosure, I'm going to bring in as a humanoid. It's going to detect it as an actor build character because this was previously an actor build character, a custom character. You can actually find this vampire character on the on AccuPose. Yes. Actor core, rather, actor core. Okay, so this character here, now it comes in like this as a T-pose because I've kind of removed everything from it. Now, if you want to find out if your character has facial animation, the easiest way to do it is to go to motion pose right here and facial profile editor, which is for some reason over here on my window. Bring it over here. So here is where you can click on edit expressions. So every character that you bring in that is a CC3 character has either a CC4 standard or a CC4 extended facial profile. And to find out if it has facial animation, you click on these items here, and none of them are active. So he doesn't have facial animation. So what you would have to do is you would have to manually create those in Blender or 3ds Max or Maya or whatever you have. You'd have to manually create those blend shapes and one by one import them into here. Now, the reason I like to tell people to use the character bases, so character load, character neutral base here. It doesn't have to be a neutral base. It can be a stylized character as well. So if we load in the CC3 plus character here, just replace all, doesn't matter. It's going to come with a facial animation profile. Now, this is a realistic, more realistic type character. It's not like a stylized toon-like character. It's the neutral base, very androgynous, as you can see. Now, if we take a look at this character, we go over to the facial profile editor, you'll see it already comes preloaded with some blend shapes for the facial animation. Did I click it? Oh, yeah, okay, it was already up there. Okay, so edit expressions here, and you'll see it has a CC4 extended. This is typical for characters that have a more that need more subtle expressions. So for stylized characters, they're not going to be as subtle. So if we go to brow, you can see the brow inner raise. Okay, so all of these things have already been imported in. If I wanted to customize any of these, it's very easy. There's a number of different tools I can use. I can use morph sliders, or I can use the edit mesh tool. I can also do this in Blender as well. Open modify morphs. These are the different ways that you can modify your expressions within Character Creator. So say, for example, I wanted to, change my brow inner raise to look like a bit more extreme. What I can do is let's try and edit the mesh maybe. Or, yeah, let's just do that, whatever, edit mesh. Okay, and I can just take my character's mesh. Let's just do like maybe a vertex. Let's just grab something here. Soft selection. Yeah, this is a smaller radius. I know I'm going through this really quick, but I'm just kind of showing you quickly how to do this. Maybe press W and raise the eyebrows even further. We probably want to smooth that out, obviously, but you can also rotate it. Let's move it slightly this way. I'd probably want to select this part and move it up as well. So again, I'm just using the W and E hotkeys for rotation and whatnot. Okay, so we'll say that's good enough. We can even take the lower part here and bring it further down. Just have to select the vertexes, and I'm doing a really crappy job here, but showing you the functionality, really. All right, I'm not going to mess around too much with that. But generally, you can do this with Blender as well. Okay. Oh, that looks kind of funky. So facial profile editor, and then just click this little quick update button like that, and you can split apart. You can split it with all the other ones as well that are eyebrow related. If I do only current slider, it'll only be for the inner left. So let's press OK. And now the inner left is going to look like this. It's going to look a lot weirder. And if I want, I can mirror that to the other side. I can link it to the inner left, inner right as well. And so you can see it'll look like this. All right. Or rather, not link, mirror. Sorry. My bad. Okay, mirror, there we go. Okay, so now it'll mirror to this side. And if they both come up, then they'll be like this. Okay, so we just changed her blend shape expression. Now, and again, another thing you can do is if you want, you'll see up here, batch import, you can import an entire OBJ or FBX frame sequence. So what you can do is I found in Blender Data Link, you can actually click on this and go to facial rig. And if you're using an extended facial profile, use the extended step. If you're using a linear facial profile, if you're using a standard one, use the standard step. So if I click on standard, for example, you can see here, it's step. It's not blending together. It's step by step. Oops. Every 30 frames, it'll change to another one. And thankfully, what we can do with Data Link, since we have all this entire thing here, we can export that entire sequence to Blender. So let's close this down and do the Go B thing again with the Blender Data Link. Go B avatar. Now it's going to launch this character up in Blender. It might take a little bit longer for this character, but you'll see it'll actually load up the entire animation as well. It'll load up that entire sequence that we are they going to work with this character? I think it's just loading up because it's a heavier character. That one guy was so easy without any sort of, oh, there it is. But yeah, this is what you'll get. We zoom in. You'll see right here all the different blend shapes. Now, if I wanted to do this in Blender, I can go ahead and do it in Blender as well. So if I wanted to, modify those eyebrows further, I can export this entire sequence back to Character Creator using the export, using the CC link and sequence right here. And when I do that, it's going to export that entire same sequence back, and any modifications I made, I can then use those modifications. I can choose that frame and I can use that modification to correct or totally modify that pose from what I have in Blender. So again, it takes a bit of time, but it's a really cool workflow that I discovered. But yeah, I think we'll go ahead to the Q&A, and yeah, if you have any questions, now's the time, and I'm free to answer those. And yeah, let's get to it. Thanks for sticking with me, guys, here. So Q&A, where are we here? All right, we already got a few up here. Oh, fair. Names pronounced fairs. Okay, so yeah, Fair is, I think, a longtime user of iClone. A full armload of DAZ and 3D and Renderosity characters. So yeah, you can definitely use those clothing items. With DAZ characters, you can actually just save them directly. You don't have to import them as accessories. So fairs. Got it. I remember that. Okay, question from Ceylon. Ceylon? Is it possible to convert a character created in Maya to CC3 Plus or whatever format is necessary to apply clothes, hair, and etc. purchased from Reallusion store? Yeah, absolutely. You bring in a character, it'll basically rig that character up, and the skin weighting will automatically be applied as well. Now, again, like you saw, the skin weighting is not going to be ideal in many cases. So let's see if I bring in, I don't know, who was a naked guy that didn't have much clothing. Toy Man might be a tricky one. Let's try him again though. I've never imported in Toy Man and applied clothing to him. Oh, but we have to, of course, do that whole thing over again. Reset to 0. I just like to try extreme examples to start off. um, and for this guy, I'd probably want to extract his mesh for his shirt to make him naked first. But again, oh, I'm not going to bother with the correct placements here because I just want to throw some clothing on him. But again, that might give us less than ideal results. But yeah, I'll just show you that you can do it. Now, if I had like more time, I would extract the mesh for his shirt, and I would extract the mesh for his pants, and then apply other clothing. And we don't have to check the animation even. I'm just using this guy because he's also really light as well. It doesn't take a long time for his stuff. Okay, fine skin. Yeah, but you can just bring your Maya characters in, and again, the results will vary. I'm not going to say they're going to be flawless every time, but I'm going to see what happens with this guy, and if the clothing imports in a weird way, I can also adjust it manually using Blender or using the Edit Mesh tool in Character Creator, and various other ways as well. You can also conform the cloth using Character Creator. We have a couple of tutorials on that. Come on, boy. You're supposed to be light. All right, there we go. Okay, so he's all good. We can just go out of AccuRIG, and let's see, what kind of clothing should we give him? How about some girls' clothing? I don't know, whatever. um, oh, this is the Daz character that I had earlier. Where I'm at right now? Oh, clothing. Gosh, I don't know, man. Custom. Do I have anything good in custom on this computer? Oh, there's the Minto shoes. You can save those, like I showed earlier. Skirt pants. Minto pants. Let's see what he looks like with Minto pants. Oh, body parts of CTV characters. Okay, so humanoid. Yeah, they're humanoid characters. There's a way to convert them to CC3 plus characters as well. Yeah, so right now they're considered humanoid characters, and this is the reason why. Yeah, sorry, I got that wrong. This is the reason why I recommend using our base meshes to bring your character. So if, for example, you use our base mesh to bring your character into, or to create your character in Maya, this one neutral base, or any of our bases really that are classified as CC3 plus, you have to make sure that it's not humanoid up here. It'll be CC3 plus. Otherwise, just because the topology is so different, they're only optimized for use with those CC3 plus. Now you can try to do it manually, like I mentioned, but generally, if you're going to create any characters that are going to be used in Character Creator, what you want to do is you want to start with one of the templates. Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize this character was. I thought he was originally a CC plus. Yeah, like any of these, just if you just type character in your main character folder there's a pack, and all of these characters are royalty free that are found here in this characters pack. You can basically use any of these neutral bases here for royalty free with your project. So if you're starting off with a stylized character, if you want to create a stylized character, start off with these meshes. A more realistic character, you can start off with your neutral female and male, and these ones as well. So where can you find these? They're in the main Reallusion page, free base mesh Reallusion. I'm pretty sure it'll pop up if you Yeah, these guys right here. So I'll throw this link in the chat window for you guys. Here we go. Okay, so you can just download them here in FBX format as well if you want. Okay, but again, even if they're FBX, they still maintain the topology of the CC3 plus base characters. So you're gonna be able to modify them. Very important to note that you do not modify the poly count. Okay, or change the rig. You can change the mesh. You can modify the mesh to whatever you want. You can change the proportions, like using bone proportions and stuff like that, but do not change the poly count. Otherwise, it's not going to recognize it when it comes back into CC3. So, Ceylon, sorry, that was a very long-winded answer. Hopefully, it answered your question there. But you can, again, these are all free for royalty use, royalty-free use. So, yeah, check them out. You can use them in ZBrush as well. So you can see commercial use allowed. Bam, right there. Okay. Raphael asks, I wonder if there are any plans for development in development for a prompt animation feature where users can type a short description and auto-generate an animation using existing tools. So that's like an artificial intelligence type question for sure. We do have AccuPose, which aids you with artificial. It uses AI training to kind of help you customize poses, and that's available with iClone. That's I think, did I show that at the beginning? Yeah, AccuPose. And this is a feature that you can actually subscribe for. You can purchase things separately. You can purchase these pose templates separately, or you can just pay whatever you want. There's different options for you here, so you can download and purchase them separately as well. Okay, hopefully I answered your question there. Oscar asks, is there a possibility of a humanoid character? There is a possibility of a humanoid character. Animations can be added for face emotions and lip sync. Yeah, again, that goes back to the question um, to my recommended workflow. Like I know people just come, they're new to character creator, and they're like, oh, it's going to take me forever to put all my blend shapes into this facial animation profile. Um, so yeah, I resonate with that, and I have compassion for those people. But again, if you're going to be working with Character Creator or iClone, and you use the animation tools, I recommend starting off with those facial profiles that I showed you. Um, all right. Citra asks, this is a long one. I believe I weight painted it pure black and even put the lower extension of the hat. Yada yada. Um, Weight painting doesn't get registered as pure black. Oh, okay. It looks like Alonso might be answering this question. That's a technical question about weight painting. I think uh, weight painting is something that, yeah, it's no fun, to be honest. And I'm glad Blender does it quite well by default. But yeah, Citra, I'll let Alonso answer that question there for you. Sherry asks, are there any plans to support four-legged characters in Motion Director? Motion Director. Yes. Wait. Oh man, did I see that? I'm going to tentatively say yes, because I know that iClone, the next iClone is going to include some really cool quadruped stuff. It's going to be one of the main features in iClone 9 because we've had so many inquiries about it and so many requests for it over the last few years. You don't understand. Like everyone's like quadruped. And so I know that they're working on something similar to that. I can't talk too much about it, but yeah, there is going to be a much expanded support, especially in the next version. It's going to be much more expanded than any of the previous versions for four-legged characters. So, Sherry, you can look forward to that. I won't go into too much detail, but Robinson asks, is this video going to be recorded on YouTube? Yep, it's all recorded on YouTube. We'll send you guys out a recording at the end of the webinar as well. So if you miss anything, don't worry about it. All right. Andrew asks, let's say you have an actor core character and take it into ZBrush to fiddle with it and then take it back to CC4. Should you just forget about the bones when you take it to ZBrush and then re-rig it when you bring it back into CC4? Good question, Andrew. There are a couple of ways to do that. I know generally with ZBrush, you're not too concerned about bone weighting and stuff like that. A lot of ZBrush work is, just mesh work. Now you can export the mesh by itself and bring in the mesh just by itself and apply it, to this, just replace the OBJ file. I don't know if that makes any sense, but the morphs, like for example, for the facial profile editors, when you edit the expressions, you can import in custom morphs. So like I don't know, nose sneer, for example, you would go here and you would click on edit and you would import in your OBJ file here. That would be for the face, right? So you also have, your various morph. I have to load in a CC3 plus character here first. Again, like I said, you're going to always want to start off with a CC3 plus character, one of our base characters. But you also have your blend shapes, morph targets, whatever you want to call them, over here as well. So morphs, and you can import in your own custom morphs here as well. Just go to create and morph slider editor. You can create head and body morph sliders or morph slider editor right here. And then you import in an OBJ that way. Okay. Yeah. Oh, so this is, yeah. Okay. Once you've already done that. Great. What am I doing here? Morph slider editor. So this is where you would bring in your custom OBJ file right here. And there's tutorials on that. Just Google something like custom morphs in CC4 or something like that. So you can use your default morph as the source morph or your current morph. So you can export this to OBJ and modify that in ZBrush. Now, again, I just want to reemphasize that you need to make sure that your topology remains the same. You can, stretch and pull and tuck all you want, but just make sure you don't add or remove any topology from your character. Otherwise, when you bring the OBJ back in, it's not going to recognize it as the same mesh. So that would be your ZBrush workflow. The two ways to do your, ZBrush workflow. You can do it manually in the facial profile editor, or you can do it in your import a custom one to your morph sliders here. Probably have some custom ones here that I've had over the years. I wonder what bulbous head is. Oh, there you go. There's bulbous head right there. That's a custom morph that I made. That's about the extent of my skill in sculpting. Cat face. Okay, here's another one I did. This looks a little bit better. Anyways, these are all custom morphs. Yeah, that one looks a bit funny. Anyways, that's the workflow you would go through, Andrew, for that. Hopefully that's clear. Anonymous attendee asks, can I add spring bones to a CC avatar created with CC3+? Yeah, absolutely. Was it the last webinar I did? There's maybe one webinar or two ago that I basically just took added armature to a tail in Blender. And then when you import it as an accessory into Character Creator, you need to assign spring bones to it. So that's in webinar, I think the last one. Gosh, I don't know. Let's find out. I can link that to you because the whole process takes probably 10, maybe 5-10 minutes. So I don't want to demonstrate it here, but it is one that we have in the archive. Yeah, it's this one right here. Blender pipeline workflow with Character Creator. So that question is from Anonymous. Oh gosh, there I am. Get me off the screen, man. There you go. There's a link for you. Let's look at something cooler. Yeah, that'll be teach you all you need to know about Blender Springbone workflow. All right, Ceylon, thanks. I already have a character designer creating a character in Maya. He's almost finished. I'd like to use it in CC4 and apply the closing here I already purchased. Am I screwed? You know, it's hard to say. I mean, you can get your character or get your modeler to export just the mesh, your Maya mesh. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be using it with iClone for animation purposes, um, again, you're going to be restricted for the body. the clothing and everything like that. It's not going to be interchangeable for the clothing. The facial animation would probably be an easier thing to do because you'll be able to. I mean, you can fully customize your own facial animation profile. You don't have to use the ones that we started with. Like you can have your own brow raise. You don't have to use the one we have to start, but you do have to use you do have to import your OBJs in to be compatible with that. So not really screwed. It's just going to be a little bit of a workaround. Uh, and unfortunately, apologies for that. Robinson asks, I have an additional question. And that is that I brought a character to ZBrush and lost the link. How do I recover the link again? Recover the link. Generally, if your topology is unchanged, you shouldn't have to. I mean, you should just be able to link it right back up again. I don't really use ZBrush that often myself, so I'm not really the guy to ask about ZBrush Robinson, unfortunately. But we do have a lot of tutorials from ZBrush artists on our Learning Center that may be helpful for you if you just go to the library, or let's go home first. And character creator, pipelines, probably. Yeah, I think this one here. You can see there's a whole category for ZBrush tutorials here. GoZ is the plugin that you're talking about, I think. So yeah, some really good tutorials on this, and they're fairly detailed. I don't generally get into super crazy details like that with a lot of my stuff, but yeah, it's some important stuff, important information here, and a lot of them aren't done by me. So, all right. Thanks for that question, Robinson. I think someone had a question, but okay, cool. Looks like we're all done. Nice, good timing on that. Yeah, so we'll stop the Q&A then, and just wanted to thank everyone so much for attending today's webinar. Really lovely to have you guys here. And again, any questions you have, you can also email me, kai@reallusion.com. Feel free to send an email to, or give us our feedback on the feedback form, get that free 10% discount from the content store. Yeah, I think that's about it. So again, lovely to have you guys around. Make sure you check out all the learning resources we have. Make sure you get yourself signed up for Character Creator 5 and AccuPose if you're into that stuff. And yeah, AccuRIG is free as always. So that's one of the cool free things that we still have remaining. But yeah, love to have you guys here. We'll see you in the next webinar. We have some cool stuff coming up next month. So stay tuned. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.